Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Radio Islam International. It's just gone 7 minutes to the hour of 7 on this beautiful Thursday evening. And joining us in studios here in Radio Islam's headquarters here in Johannesburg is Imam Shadi Alsuleiman, the Australian National Imam Council president. And he will be chatting to us over the next few minutes. And inshallah, we'll catch up with him as far as his recent trip to South Africa. Imam Shadi, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And it's a pleasure to have you in Radio Islam International.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. And my pleasure to be here again.
MashaAllah, yes, again. And talking about again, I believe it's 10 years later that you visit in South Africa. What are your impressions visiting this community 10 years later?
Subhanallah, as you mentioned, first, assalamu alaikum to you and to my dear listeners and brothers and sisters here in South Africa, and so good to be here again after 10 years. I came here in 2015, and I'm sitting right now in the exact seat that I sat in 10 years ago.
Wow.
Alhamdulillah. And the purpose of my visit this time around is that we established an organization called Global Imams and Scholars Council.
Yes.
And the Global Imams and Scholars Council's mandate and vision is to unite the Imams Councils in countries where Muslims live as minorities. So alhamdulillah, we started with Australia, the Australian National Imams Council, UK, Canada, America, South Africa, Japan, and New Zealand. And we have an annual retreat. And this year was hosted by UCSA, who's the member organization of the Global Imams and Scholars Council and a founding member. And I said that, subhanallah, I came here 10 years ago, and I've seen a huge progress in South Africa, in particular within the Muslim community and the mindset of the Muslim community. I see good progress, more of an open-mindedness and an understanding to look at the bigger pictures rather than just being bogged down with sometimes trivial matters. So credit goes to the Muslim community here, and I believe sometimes challenges does push us to think bigger and to be more focused. So alhamdulillah, it's been a very delightful trip. I've been here for 1 week, and I'm leaving tomorrow from Johannesburg back to Sydney, a 15-hour flight.
Wow.
Yeah, but alhamdulillah, I'm so proud of the community here, and I'm very proud of the imams and ulama and scholars and councils here. MashaAllah, UCSA is doing an excellent job bringing the Muslim community together, and alhamdulillah, it's good to see the progress.
Earlier on, I saw you had paid tribute to the former minister, Naledi Pandor. You were with her son also. I understood that you were not aware that she was a Muslim. Talk to us about your impressions there.
Subhanallah, yesterday I was sitting down with her son. What a beautiful son, what a wonderful man, you know, humble, respectful, intelligent. And Maulana Abdul Khaliq, the president of UCSA, introduced me to him, and he said his mother is I remember it's Pandu, you know? And I've been following her. Like I literally followed her statements and comments at the ICJ.
Yes.
And every time I watched her, I said, this is a noble, courageous woman. I never thought that she's from our community.
Wow.
And subhanallah, that blew me away. I was so proud. I was always proud of her.
Yes.
But I never connected that she's from the Muslim community. And it was a proud moment to know that not only she's a brave woman, she's a brave Muslim woman.
Subhanallah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So alhamdulillah, I told him I want to send a message to your brave mother.
Yes.
And I want to salute her, and she deserves all a respect and salutation.
Indeed. Subhanallah. Let's talk a little bit about Australia. What are the current challenges? How is the community going? What trajectory has it been adopting?
So yesterday we went to Awal Masjid in Cape Town. That was built in 1794.
Yes.
2 weeks ago I was at Awal Masjid in Australia. And that was built in 1862.
Yes.
We're talking about over 160 years ago. Muslims have been in Australia for more than 200 years.
Wow.
And the first masjid was established more than 160 years ago after the European or the British settlement in Australia when they discovered Australia in 1770. And they struggled in the transportation of goods, given that the country is a very big country with a big desert in the middle. So they were advised to bring camelees, bring people with camels and experience in dealing with the camels. So they were told to bring them from Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India.
Mm.
They call them Afghanis, but they're predominantly Pakistanis, Baluchistan, and from the area. So they brought Camolis into Australia. History says that the first Camoli Muslim that came to Australia was in 1830,
Wow.
and they brought him into Australia. And because they wanted to connect different stations within Australia, Australia is a big country, like from the east to the west. It takes about 5.5 hours by plane,
Subhanallah.
5,000 kilometers. It's a big country. So they needed to connect the cities, and they were advised to bring camels and camelis to connect the cities.
Mm.
And so they brought the camelis, and the camelis were Muslims. And because they were in the middle of Australia's station, the closest city to Murray, which I went to, is 700 kilometers. That's Adelaide. And they established the first mosque there 1862.
1860.
Yeah, so I went there like 2 weeks ago, and I drove from Adelaide to there. It took me 8 hours drive. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of outback Australia, and Murray has a population of less than 100 people.
Mm.
Yeah, but it's sad. Why? Because you see a beautiful masjid.
Yeah.
If you see a beautiful masjid, when I say a beautiful masjid, like a very old masjid, made out of palm trees and
Yes.
out of leaves, and it's not, but it's beautiful when you see it's a masjid in the middle of nowhere. What shocked me the most and upset me and saddened me the most is when I went to the cemetery. I went to the cemetery, and in the cemetery there's over 70 Muslims buried there from 1890, 1895, 1901,
Wow.
1910, 1920, 1991. So
Subhanallah.
when you look that there's 70 Muslims buried there for about 150 years, you expect that there's at least 500-600 Muslims there.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, there's no Muslims there. They've lost all their offsprings. And I always say, because people tell me they left Islam, I don't say they left Islam. I say we lost them out of Islam.
Wow.
It's not like, oh, I don't believe in Allah, I don't believe in Muhammad, I don't believe in Islam, I'm no longer a Muslim. There's difference. And there's difference when someone just grows up not being exposed to Islam and they just drift away from it. That's exactly what happened to all.
Yes, salam.
The vast majority of them just drifted away from Islam, and we should be blamed for it. I met some of the descendants, and I went and sat down with one of the offsprings, and he was 84 years old, and I told him, are you a Muslim? He said, I am an Afghani. Yeah, I'm an Afghani. I told him, do you know much about Islam? He said, no, we were never exposed to it. I told him, are you interested? He said, I'm too old.
Wow.
It's sad. And that puts me in a very concerning situation. What are we going to do with the next generation? Like we're talking about right now, generations who are born and raised in South Africa, as you could see, mashallah, fifth, sixth generation.
Mm.
In Australia now, we've got the third and fourth generation born and raised in Australia. So we need to start thinking about where do we foresee the next generation and their position in Islam.
And that brings me to the next question: that how do we avoid making the same mistake again, working with the current generation? What is critical to save the iman?
Excellent question. Well, my brother and the listeners, I'm going to connect to Awal Masjid in Australia with Awal Masjid here in South Africa.
Mm.
So I went to Awal Masjid there, and no Muslims at all. And the mosque is just a replica of the original mosque because it's just been deserted.
Mm.
Awal Mosque, Awal Masjid that I went to in Cape Town, vibrant, functional, operational. We walked in, tens of young boys and girls, students learning the Quran al-Kareem. There's an entire community there. And then you look into the history and you realize that it was established by ulama, and they focused on knowledge.
Mm.
And they passed on that knowledge to the next generation. It's important that we continue passing on knowledge to the next generation. And this is where the mistake. They did not pass on knowledge to the next generation. One of the things that impresses me about the South African Muslim community is that there is a lot of focus on ilm, a lot of focus on Darul Ulum, madrasa, a lot of focus on teaching the Quran. Like a few times people told me it's like part of your everyday activity here in South Africa, whether you go to public school or Islamic school, you have to go to madrasa. That's part of your life. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
That's not part of our life in Australia for many Muslims, but we need to make this as part of their life. And that's why, mashallah, you see a lot of you third, fourth generation. I was speaking to Uncle Yaqub, mashallah, my beloved host and brother, and he told me that he's born here, his father is born here, and to a certain extent his grandfather. And alhamdulillah, you see Islam in their lives because their their ancestors, their parents made sure that they get something out of Islam,
100%.
as opposed to the people that I told you in Mari, where they were not exposed. He literally told me we were never exposed to Islam.
Ya Rab.
And it's important that we expose our children to Islam. Now, this term expose has different connotations to it. It's how we expose it now. So it's not enough just to say, come to the masjid and learn Quran. No, no. There's a way now. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a style in the way we expose Islam to the next generation, whether it's through madrasa, through Islamic centers, through sports, through recreations, through gyms. We need to start learning, and we need to start also thinking about how do we expose Islam to the next generation.
100%. And talking about the youth, it's a neglected sector of our community. In the masajid, we have by and large people who are settled in their marriage already 30, 40, 50, and they are, alhamdulillah, good musallis. But the cream of the crop, as we refer to the youth, I don't know if we're doing enough for our youth. And when you say the youth, then you got the boys, and the girls are extremely neglected. I don't know how you are managing all the challenges. What infrastructure do you have in place to safeguard the iman and to ensure that they grow up in the colors of deen?
No, look, it's a very good question, and it's a big concern on the mind of every single Muslim, especially those that want to make sure they preserve Islam and the Islamic identity in their children. And I'll go back to the word expose. It's how do we expose Islam to them? How do we attract them to Islam? Maybe in the past it was enough to bring them to a madrasa, but the reality is the next generation, it's not enough for you just to bring them to a madrasa or bring them to a masjid. And for that reason, in Australia, for example, most Islamic organizations and centers, whether new or old, are moving away from establishing a masjid into establishing a community center.
Wow.
A one-stop Islamic center where you pray, you play, you eat, you hang out, you learn. It's a one-stop Islamic center. Like, alhamdulillah, I run one of the largest Islamic centers in the country, and we average over 1,500, 2,000 people every single day.
Wow.
And we operate from 4 a.m. to 1 a.m.
Tell us
And
more about it.
alhamdulillah, it's called the UMA Center, and it's a center that's attracting a lot of young people. Not only young, but attracts a lot of people. Why? Because there's a masjid that you pray there,
Right.
but if you want to train, there is a state-of-the-art gym that you could train in there.
Yeah.
If you want to train boxing, there's a boxing gym.
Wow.
There's a youth area. There's a basketball court and a sports hall. There's a cafe if you're hungry and you want to eat. If you want to learn, we've got, alhamdulillah, a lot of programs, educational programs for people to learn Arabic, Quran, Sharia, understand Islam. We even have other courses that we offer if people want to get into different sectors.
Wow.
So alhamdulillah, it's a one-stop Islamic center where we bring people to the center, not only for praying, because people come to pray and go. No, we want people to pray and stay.
Wow.
We don't want
So
people
they
just
come as a family.
They come as a family. It's for the old, for the young, for the brother, for the sister, and we'll accommodate everyone. And alhamdulillah, it's mashallah, a very vibrant center. It's always busy from the morning to the evening. And alhamdulillah, now we're expanding. Like, we are tripling the size of this center.
So what results have you seen after this?
We've seen a lot of results. Why? Because we need to create an environment for the youth. The youth need an environment. And if they're not going to be with us, they're going to be someone else. If they're not going to be in a safe environment, in our environment, they're going to be in a very unsafe, bad environment. So this is where we become responsible. We need to take responsibility. We can't always just turn around and say, what are the youth doing this and what they're hanging out there? They're doing this and they're hanging out there because you haven't provided an alternative.
Yes.
It's important that we do provide an alternative. This is an area, subhanAllah, 10 years ago, I spoke about it in this very same room at this very same station.
Wow.
I said that we need to start looking into how do we attract our youth, because if we're not going to look into ways in attracting our youth, we're going to lose them. And we need to start progressing and developing the way we deal with the youth. Now, one of the big discussions that we have is the preservation of Islamic identity. How do we address Islam to the next generation? Addressing Islam to the next generation needs to change, that will conform with the understanding of our children and the children of children. We're not changing the fundamentals.
Yes.
We're not changing the Quran and Sunnah. We're not changing what we've learned. We are just changing the way we address it, the way we convey it. And the way it was conveyed to us, it worked to a certain extent, but it's not going to work with the next generation.
100%. I'm going to come back to the global retreat that you were part of over the last week. Talk to us more about that. What kind of programs you had? What kind of discussions you had? What was the outcomes? Talk to us about that.
So 3 years ago, we established the Global Imams and Scholars Council. And it brings together imams councils from countries where Muslims live as minorities.
Okay.
So as I mentioned, we've got Australia, America, UK, Canada, South Africa, New Zealand, and Japan.
Hmm.
And alhamdulillah, this is our third retreat. The first one was held in Istanbul, the second one was held in Mecca last year, and the third one
Okay.
was held in Cape Town. And I have to say, with all love and respect to Mecca, Cape Town, and this retreat has been the best because of many reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mecca is the most sacred place, but because it's hosted by a member council of the Global Imams and Scholars Council. And alhamdulillah, we were there, we were connected, and Jazakumullah khairan, Uksa, they did an outstanding job in not only in their hospitality, in their welcoming, but the program. And the primary purpose of the Global Imams and Scholars Council is to unite the ulama and imams. When the imams and ulama are united, the rest of the ummah and the community is united. When the imams and ulama are divided, the rest of the ummah and the community is divided. That's a reality. It starts from them. If we see your general people, your common Muslims divided, it's because of the imams and ulama.
Yes.
They unite, they divide. And unity doesn't mean you have to agree with me and I have to agree with you. That's the wrong definition of unity. And it's good that we have differences of opinion. Why do we have to always look at differences of opinions as an unhealthy, bad thing? No, it's good. It's healthy and it's good. What's bad is the division. What's bad is the fitna. And alhamdulillah, the primary objective of the Global Imams and Scholars Council is to bring the imams together globally, and we share everything in common. We just have different approaches. We have different approaches. And the biggest challenge that we face as Muslims living in non-Muslim countries is the Islamic identity. We need to preserve Islam in our lives and the lives of our children. So we focus a lot on the preservation of Islamic identity, and we focus on how can we maintain Islam in the traditional understanding of the Quran and Sunnah and the prominent scholars of the past and the present for now, tomorrow, future generations to come. So this is our primary focus. And then we'll talk about other challenges that we face. We'll all face the rise of Islamophobia and anti-Muslim hate and prejudice. We are all in the same boat with regard to what's happening to our brothers and sisters in Palestine and Gaza. There's no dispute over here. So the common issues, the common interests, the common denominators, we work on them. The issues that we disagree on, we debate them. And alhamdulillah, we could walk out of the room disagreeing on them and loving each other.
MashaAllah. Yes, we are in discussion with the honorable guest in our studios here this afternoon, Shk Shadi Alsuleiman. He is the Australian National Imam Council President, and alhamdulillah, he will be in Lenasia this evening. There is a program arranged at the Nurul Islam Masjid, and the program will be after Isha Salah. Jamaat is at 8 p.m. If you are in the region, inshallah, make your way and inshallah benefit from the program. And it will be a brief program, about 20 to 30 minutes, not very long, and benefit from the scholars that are visiting here. Finally, Sheikh Shadi, maybe a piece of nasiha before we close off this evening.
Well, I came here to get a nasiha. And alhamdulillah, dinu nasiha. Islam is about nasiha. We give each other nasiha. We give and take each other nasiha. And I've learned a lot in the last week. And one of the things that I've learned is alhamdulillah to see how vibrant the Muslim community here in South Africa, because we share the very same challenges. We are a minority community here. We are a minority community in Australia. In a matter of fact, we are bigger in percentage than the South African Muslim community. We are nearly 4%. Here it's 2%. Subhanallah. Wow. Yeah. Subhanallah. So in Australia we are 4% as Muslims, and mashallah here the South African Muslim community is a very vibrant community, very advanced community, and it's about maintaining and managing that. The advice that I have is continue moving forward. Do not divide. Stay united. And as I mentioned, you could have differences of opinions. You don't have to agree on everything, but we have to work together.
100%.
And we have to work on the matters that we agree on. Alhamdulillah, we've managed to bring over 350 imams together in Australian National Imams Council. And we are very diverse. Yes. Like here in South Africa, you are probably 2-3 different ethnicities. In Australia, we are about 30 different ethnicities. We've got the Arabs and the different parts of the Arab world. We've got the Indian subcontinent. We've got the Turks. We've got the Bosnians, the Albanians. We've got the Indonesians, the Malaysians. Alhamdulillah, we are very, very cocktail and very, very diverse Imams Council. But alhamdulillah, we work together. Why? Because we've understood you could continue having your own opinion. You don't have to agree with me or agree with any on issues that you disagree. But the matters that we agree on, we work on them together.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah. So, for example, You have a particular view when it comes to the beginning of month of Ramadan, no problem. Stick to that view and then follow my view.
Yeah.
Even say it publicly, I disagree with that. But alhamdulillah, we're still brothers, we are still one community, and we could still move forward in preserving our fasting, in preserving our Islamic
Alhamdulillah.
identity, in protecting the honor of Islam and Muslims, in supporting our brothers and sisters in Palestine and Gaza. Work with me. That's our approach. We never ask anyone to change. Stick to what you believe in. Openly, publicly, privately, you stick to it. We are asking you. The matters that you agree with us on, work together with us on it. So it's important that we stay united. And it's important that we stay working together. And it's important that we progress together as an ummah. And we are facing challenges. We as a Muslim ummah, we are facing challenges wherever we go. Wherever we go, we need to stick together. So unity is so important for us to stick together. And at the same time, we need to start looking into the future. We need to come out of that mindset is where do we see Islam in next year? Or where do we see Islam in next years? We need to start thinking about where do we see Islam in next 100 years? In the next 100 years, where do we see Islam in South Africa? And we need to start planning for that from now. Otherwise, it's going to be a big struggle later on. And I started with the first topic, which we had Muslims who came to Australia 200 years ago, and unfortunately, a lot of their offspring had lost their faith because they didn't plan for the future. We need to start planning. Where do I see Islam in South Africa in 2100, 2200? And when you start looking at that and envisioning that, you start planning for it.
100%. Subhanallah. Finally, on a lighter note, Shk Shadi, Shadi in our language means marriage. So what does Shadi mean? Is this an Arabic name?
Well, I was in Pakistan for 2 years, and whenever they used to ask me, Apke naam kya, I used to say Shadi. And they used to look at me and say, Shadi kaise? How's that possible, So Shadi is an Arab name. My parents are from Palestine originally.
Oh,
They
mashallah.
migrated from Palestine in the 60s.
Yeah.
So we are one of the oldest Arab families there. So we've been nearly 55 years. I was born and raised in Australia. And Shadi is a very common Arab name, which means a singing bird or a serious persistent student of knowledge.
Yeah.
So I'd rather take the second meaning of it. And it's a very popular name in the Middle East. Obviously, it's very strange when you go to the Indian subcontinent that your name is marriage.
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah, I'm very happy to be married, and I've got 2 boys.
Yeah, I think we can make the tabik between the two, meaning you are a student of knowledge and you sing for your wife. So
Alhamdulillah.
inshallah, you can marry both of them. Barakallahu fikum, and we look forward to listening to you this evening, inshallah, at the Nur Islam Masjid after the Isha Salah.
Jazakallah khair, and I'm looking forward to delivering the talk, and I'm looking forward to listeners being with us tonight. I'm really looking forward to sharing with them. And alhamdulillah, I thank the brothers and sisters, the South African Muslim community, for the warmth of their welcome. You make me feel like more than a family. And alhamdulillah, look, what brings us together? What connects you and I together? You're not from the same ethnicity as I. You're not from the same blood as I. You're not from the same background as I. But alhamdulillah, we are so connected and bonded because we have La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. It connects us all together. And inshallah, I'll be talking about that tonight after Salat al-Isha.
Barakallahu fikum. So a reminder, tonight after Isha at the Nur Islam Masjid, Shk Shadi Alsuleiman will be